Alright, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So, as you can see, my background has changed a little because I just moved into my new place this weekend. So, for the current time being, I basically spent all of yesterday because my brother was moving at the same time as me yesterday. I spent most of yesterday helping him move his stuff. Then I moved my stuff in here today, and most of today I was just kind of clearing up and getting stuff sorted. So, yeah, for the next week at least, this is my temporary kind of office until I can set up a more permanent area to start doing my video recordings every week. But yeah, so this will be temporary, but looking forward to setting up an office in my new space and kind of having the freedom to kind of set it up all nice and properly and get it going. But yeah, so to get into it, welcome back to my weekly Shonen Jump reaction reviews. So I'm starting with One Piece this week. So I'm going to be doing again, I'll do One Piece, Haikyuu, and The Promised Neverland. So for all three series, because I'm now I think like 2 weeks behind on Shonen Jump chapters because I've just been busy with work and like moving stuff, so I haven't had time to catch up yet. So these reaction reviews this week will be 2 chapters each. So they'll cover the last 2 chapters I missed. So without further ado, let's get into it with the first one, One Piece chapter 941, Queen's Gamble. You have I actually love this cover page. You have Brook standing on the prow of the Thousand Sunny. You have request Brook conducting a chorus of Ski-Eagles on the deck of the Sunny by Noda Skywalker. Noda Skywalker seems to be really, really popular with Oda lately, but they've always got really, really good requests, so I can't fault them for that. We have translation Stephen Paul, lettering Vanessa Satone, chapter 947, Queen's Gamble. So we flash back to Sabaudi when Raleigh was taking the collar off Kami. And we saw how the slave's collars just exploded. That thing is really dangerous. So you see the beep, 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 and it's like, it's okay, be calm. Beep, 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 beep. You hear a crunch as he breaks the collar apart in his hand. He just flicks it, Raleigh flicks it to the side, and it goes off and explodes. So you have Luffy going, that was it. I just did the same thing I saw Raleigh do back then. But I was so desperate, I don't remember how I did it. So you got Hyogoro just standing in the back being like, yeah, that's right. Look, Straw Hat Fellow, the power you just exhibited is already beyond any application of Rio I can teach you. Which means you must be able to stop her. Deflect that monstrously powerful fist and save both our lives. So you have Luffy just like defending with both his fists. Big Mom's coming in for the punch. And you have some of the gifters going, is he going to stop the blow? That's impossible. Is he crazy? And Luffy's going, rather than clenching up, I let the hockey flow. And you have Hyogoro going, I know he can do it. And you see into my hands, and you see Luffy's hands with the aura building around them. And Big Mom goes, yeah. And he goes, come. He goes, yeah. And she just sumo slaps both of them away. Is flying away, and you hear a bakoom. The gifters are all shocked, and you have Okiku going, Luffy Taro, and Chopper's like, Luffy. So you're twick as both Hyogoro and Luffy have just been slammed into the side of the mountain. The gifter's like, we warned you. Luffy pulls himself free. He's like, blah. He's like, sorry, Gramps, it didn't work. He's like, don't die on me. And he starts pulling Hyogoro out of the wall. And it goes, Gramps. He's like, but you did guard with Rio. He's like, he's still alive? He must pay for what he did, eating the Oshiruko. That belongs to me and everyone else. And then he goes, all that I can teach you of Rio, cuff, or what you call haki, is that which covers the outside. And Luffy's like, stop talking or you'll die. He goes, it can be used for defense like invisible armor, or it can be converted to offensive use to great effect. But when you go one level beyond that, the haki you wield can penetrate the enemy's interior and destroy them from the inside, thus making it much more powerful. Those steel collars were destroyed from the inside by your haki. You can already do it. I flash back to Luffy when he just crushed it in his fist and did the Raleigh move. And he goes, you already know how to infuse yourself with outward haki, but you do it unconsciously. And the hero girl faints from all the stress. Luffy's like, Gramps! Big Mom's like, you're gonna pay. And he goes, whoa! He goes, best of luck, Straw Hat fellow. The hero girl just dives out of the way as Big Mom's fist slams into the ground. You see Prison Ironworks Udon. Why can't we make contact? The problem is the boss snail has up and vanished. That's bad enough on its own, but what's causing all that rumbling? And you hear an ah as you see a mysterious shadowed figure behind a door number 2. You see, wait you, and you see Big Mom just comes crashing in hot pursuit of Luffy. You have Big Mom? Like she smashed through the gate to the ironworks. That's where the smelter is. It's all out pandemonium. What can we do? If Master Queen can't stop her, there's no way the rest of us can do a thing. And you have, was it Babanuki going, Wano is Kaido's turf. You go, Master Queen. Oh, that's Queen talking. It's like, Master Queen, that hag won't get away with this. I have a plan, but we'll only get one chance. Listen up. It seems like Big Mom is like a wild boar. She's going to charge straight through Udon and make her way back around to us. And you see more destruction and mayhem as Big Mom is just smashing things left and right. So it looks like she picked up a wooden spiked club and she's just swinging that around and beating the shit out of things. And you hear a lot of explosions around Udon. And Queen's gone back in his Brachiosaurus form. And he goes, here she comes, Master Queen. You see a crunch as she pounds through herself out of another one. And then you hear a girl. So Queen does a hup and he's gone and stood on top of the cliff. And now he's plummeting towards Big Mom. And you see they've put a pot in front of Big Mom that says Oshiruko in front of her. Big Mom's like, Oshiruko? And she opens it and of course it's empty and she's disappointed. And she's about to get really mad. And then Queen comes down. And with his head goes Brachio Bomber. It just gives her a massive headbutt. It's like, yeah, I got her. Long live the Queen, savior of Wano. And you see Big Mom's eyes just go blank. She goes, Mama. He goes, ah. And then Big Mom's like, huh? My head is killing me. What was I just doing? Oh, right. I fell into the sea. And I got separated from the rest. And then I went to some dingy little village. And then Queen, after he falls off Big Mom's head, turns back into his normal form. And she goes, that's right. I remember everything now. And Queen's like, wait, are you kidding me? Why did you not knock the hag out? She goes, what's this? Why, you're Queen from Kaido's crew. And Queen does the typical Oda face fault. And he goes, I'm a goner. Nope. Forget this monster. She's not acting like she was before. What happened? And you have all the gifters going, whoa, it's like, I'm going to die. And you hear a thwud as Big Mom falls asleep with a giant zzz, as she's just fallen, completely knocked out. And Queen goes, get out some 100% pure sea prism stone cuffs and chains. Wrap it around her 100 times and give her 100 wild animal sedatives. Yes, sir. Is the ship ready? You bet. Leave only a bare minimum of jailers. Everyone else on the ship. If this monster wakes up, we're all dead. Every second is precious. Transport Big Mom to Onigashima. Double maximum security protocol. Yes, sir. She's busted down every store in the place. Lock down Udon with the emergency gates. Throw all the prisoners in cells and get this place in order. Babanuki, I'm putting all of Udon under your command. Yes, sir, but I'm worried about one man in per... Let's get moving. As he says, hurrah. He goes, let's go to Onigashima. And you see Big Mom on this giant plank of wood, and she's just covered in chains. He's like, load her on the ship, make it quick. Set sail, full speed ahead. So you see Queen's ship has... It looks like a jail tower in the middle. He's got a Brachiosaurus head. You hear, Momo, the gate is closing. And Momo back in dragon form going, yeah, ah yes, alas. If only we did not agree to wait here for... And then I assume this is Otama going, let's go! And she's like, what? You have gate check, all closed, sir. Snail check, still not operational. Udon seems to be completely isolated. And if something happens, we have no way of alerting anyone. And Luffy's just starting to stretch. He's like, so I get to fight all I want? What? Who said that? It won't be quite as exciting without Big Mom or Balloon Man. And then Babanuki's like, oh right, he's still free. And Luffy's like, I've always been free. And now, and now this place is mine. Alright, so I guess quick thoughts before I move on to the next chapter. I know I mentioned in my last video I was kind of nervous about how Oda would handle the Queen Big Mom Luffy fight, and I'm glad he didn't go the route of having Luffy be able to either perfectly block Big Mom or, you know, even half block or deflect her attack, and he just got completely curb stomped again. So I was happy with that. But again, this keeps reading to me like Oda keeps changing alternating Big Mom's power level according to what he needs it to be currently, depending on who she's facing. Because it's like, this is an example coming back to is when she was 5 years old, she manages to destroy an entire village of giants. And now that, you know, she's an adult woman that has mastered hockey, and she still seems to be at or close to the same level of strength. We haven't really seen her do anything that shows she's become even more of a threat now. And this chapter kind of reinforced the same thing, where it's like, alright, good thing that, like, yeah, Luffy partially blocked, and that's why he didn't get completely, you know, smashed into pace when he got slammed into the wall, but it feels like Oda doesn't know how strong exactly Big Mom is or how strong he wants her to be, and he keeps alternating that level. But maybe that's just me overthinking things, and if anyone else has a different take on it, I'd be more than happy to kind of entertain that thought. But it was amusing seeing, you know, her rampaging through all of Udon and kind of smashing it out. But again, like this, again, back to the complaint I had last week, is Big Mom is still continuing to be a plot device. Like, Oda gave her amnesia until he could have her come to Wano, break into Udon, destroy all the gates so the prisoners were free, and then lure Queen away. So that now, you know, they could have this whole isolation incident breakout, and so that, you know, Luffy could take over the prison. And my problem isn't really with the fact that, you know, like, oh, Oda needed to do this in... My problem isn't with the fact that Oda decided to go this route of choosing the plot points of isolating Udon and then having Luffy break out, you know, gather allies and all that. That's not the problem I have with it. The problem I have with this, how he's approached is very lazy. He's like, oh, how am I going to make this believable? It's like, alright, I'll give Big Mom amnesia until the point where she breaks into Udon and does what I need her to do. And then I'll conveniently give her back her memories so she can go back to being Big Mom again. And I know, like, one of the, like, supportive arguments for this is the idea that Oda has a plan. You know, everyone kind of tells me Oda has a plan. You have to kind of wait to see how everything plays out before you pass judgment on it. But, you know, we've seen how Big Mom was treated through Hall of Whole Cake Island, and seeing more of that in Wano isn't really making it a strong case for me that he has something really good in store for her. I'd like to believe that there's going to be some compelling arc for Big Mom on Wano, but, you know, like this is something, again, I talked about a long time ago, and talking about how I want the focus of Wano to be on Kaido and his crew, because so far they're all very much one-dimensional characters, and none of them feel like fully realized or fully rounded characters at all to me. So far, like, they're all just jokes. So I'm hoping that we're soon going to get a moment that now the Big Mom is hopefully out of commission, potentially until the big climactic fight. I'm hoping that maybe we'll start to see more of Kaido's crew, you know, like the background, how they came to be and all that. I'm hoping that's where we get to see, but yeah, I don't know if I could trust Oda to actually deliver properly on that. Overall, decent chapter, but Wano still, week to week, it has still been the weakest arc for me to read, and I cannot still say at this point that I am invested in any of the characters except Okiku. Out of all the Kozukis, I can't say I'm invested in any of them right now, but maybe that'll change once we kind of get to this big central conflict. But I don't know. So far, it's been. But with that said, let's go into the chapter I've been actually wanting to talk about for a while now. Because up for the past few months, almost probably over a year probably now, I've been pretty good about not getting spoiled on any Shonen Jump stuff, OP, Haikyuu, any of that stuff. Unfortunately, now that Twitter's kind of glitching on me, I did unfortunately see a spoiler regarding this chapter, and that's the reveal with Okiku on the very last page. So I have a lot of thoughts on that I'll get into once I get into the chapter, so let me go through it first. Then once we get into that, I'll kind of get my thoughts on that reveal. But we have chapter 948, introducing Kawamatsu the Kappa. And we finally have the beginning of a new cover story, limited cover series number 24, volume 1, Escape Successful. So you see Bedge on Big Mom's 25th tart ship. You see a far out thing from his crew. So it seems they all escaped from Big Mom successfully, no casualties. So we have, of course, translation again, Stephen Paul, lettering by Vanessa Satone. So you see Udon Wano, excavation labor camp. You got capture Straw Hat Luffy. And Luffy's again closed his eyes going, imagine the hockey. You see just flowing around him, going flow through the body. And he goes, humph. And he smacks one of the grifters that are coming towards him. And he goes, not quite. He goes and kicks the other one and goes, wrong, but, just look how many sparring partners I have. I know I'll figure it out. Hyogoro goes, nothing gets that Straw Hat fellow down. And then you have Kiku going, what should we do, Chopper Amon? We need to go rescue Olin. Chopper freaks out and he goes, no we don't, that's a relief to me. More important is helping Luffy Taro. Why isn't he running away? Chief Warden, should we pack the prisoners into their cells before they get any funny ideas? That won't be necessary. Huh? And he goes, prisoners, your friend Luffy Taro is leading a violent rampage. You must subdue him. And the prisoner's like, huh? Luffy's like, huh? What are you talking? He's like, stop it. I'm on your side. Don't you want to get out of here? See a bunch of prisoners just grab him by the neck and his arms and his legs. And he goes, let go of me. I'm like, sure, we hate Kaido's followers. And I'll admit, it felt great to see you fighting back. But what difference will escaping make? Kaido and Orochi rule all of Wano. 20 years ago we fought to avenge the death of Kozuki Oden, daimyo of Kuri. But Kaido the pirate crushed us. So you see, I assume this is Babanuki's elephant going, pa-woo, pa-pa-pa. He goes, we lost our families and comrades. We were beaten into submission. And when we saw Lord Yasue's execution, all of the old terror and despair flooded back. Leaving this place will not give us our homes back or foods to fill our bellies. There's no freedom to be found anywhere in this country anymore. You're an outsider from across the sea, aren't you? You can run and fight all you like, but that's your choice to make. Don't drag us into your decision. You see, what was that for? Daifugo shooting at us. It burns. My body feels so hot. Help. He's like, hey, what's wrong? You've got a weird mark on your neck. And you see a little skull mark on one of the prisoners' necks. He goes, and a terrible fever. And Daifugo goes, ha ha ha. Watch out. That's a kind of plague communicable by contact. If you touch him, you'll catch it too. You see, oh no, it's too late. It's like, stay away from me. It's like, they're plague rounds. It's like, wah ha ha. That first one is an example for you. Anyone who tries any funny business gets shot with one of these bullets. Master Queen loves to build and craft things. His hobby is making weaponized mechanisms and viruses. Well, I guess we finally found out why he's called Queen the Plague. He goes, hey, keep Straw Hat held down over there. Did you think those prisoners would fight with you? Their will to resist was broken long, long ago. And Luffy's getting really mad listening to him. He goes, damn it! If only I could say everything, they'd change their minds. Don't even try shooting me with that. You'll never hit me. And he goes, I don't need to. I just need to hit someone, and it'll spread from there. And you hear, ka, pa, 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 pa. That's right. You tell them, Straw Hat Boy. Tell them there's hope. Tell them they got one last chance. And Luffy's like, huh? It's like, right. There's someone over there. And Chopper's like, huh? Kappa? And Kiku's like, is that laugh? Chief Warden, is that a voice coming from the never-opening cell? I thought it was just a wild animal in there. Who's been inside that cell for years and years? He goes, and then Babanuki says, Shogun Orochi said to feed him fish swimming in the factory's polluted water until he dies in agony. It was meant to be a slow execution, and that was 13 years ago. Just go kill him now. We can say he died in an accident. The man inside of there is one of the Akazaya 9. You're ka-pa-pa-pa. Undo these cuffs. I was like, what? I thought they were all dead. And Kiku's like, then it's true. That's Kawamatsu. Some of the gifters are going, good, the cuffs are still on. His head will be mine. It's a chance for a promotion. No, that glory belongs to me. And then Kiku goes running off going, Kawamatsu! Chopper's like, hey Kiku, wait. He goes, there, I see something filthy. So you're the weirdo who loves poisoned fish. And that's a legendary samurai? So Kawamatsu's still shouted out, and he's got his hands cuffed behind him. And they go, time to die, legend. It's like, the intruder got away. That's the ninja from yesterday, get him! So you see Nigel Raizo flying in going, nin nin. And you see someone else getting, someone got shot in the neck with a fishbone. He goes, yow, a needle? No, that's a fishbone. Disgusting. And Raizo comes in with a swoosh. He goes, Kawamatsu, the key to the cuffs in your katana. And he just throws it to him. And you hear a jingle and a whoa. And a sword comes stuck into the wall behind him. It was just in time, Raizo. My old trusty blade, Soto Muso. He's like, tell me, do you like sumo wrestling? And you hear a Yagra Ryo. And it's like, ah! And the grifters come flying out of the cell, out of Kawamatsu's cell. And he goes, what happened to them? They're flying back this way. What? And Raizo's like, if your feet come off the ground, you'll lose. It seems that Kawamatsu has not lost a step after all this time. It's like that technique. Thank goodness. Like swimming against the rapids of the great river. They call this Kappa style. He's got his sword held like this and he just comes flying out with River of Retribution. It's like, ah! And all the... So I assume he's going like in a swirly pattern as he cuts through the grifters. And you go, oof! And you go, I'd heard that poisonous fish was a delicacy, but it was so disgusting my innards screamed for mercy. Yet I persevered for 13 long years. Compared to the suffering of my lord, this was but a pleasant breeze. How I have awaited this moment. Kawamatsu the Kappa joins the battle. And you have Kozuki clan vassal Yokozuna Kawamatsu. He's got kind of the typical sumo attire, and he's got the casa hat on his head. And he he's got this long flowing blonde hair. And he honestly looks like a cross between a chicken and... I don't know, he looks like a cross between a chicken and a fish. And this, he looks very much like you expect, a typical Kappa to look. And I'm kind of wondering, because I think I saw speculation online that Kawamatsu might have been a fishman. And I'm wondering if he's actually a fishman mink hybrid. Because I know also people are speculating in the past that when you see Dogstorm and Cat Viper as children, you see a third shadowed figure that seems to be wearing the Kaza hat off to the side along with them. And people are wondering if that was Kawamatsu. So I wonder if he's also, if he was part of that trifecta, like Dogstorm, him, and Cat Viper. And if one's, if they were night and day, I wonder if he was dawn and dusk. If he kind of filled the spots in between when they were resting. And then you have the grifters going, oh, there's an Akazai samurai here. Kiku's like, Kawamatsu. He's like, Kiku, you haven't changed a bit. Neither have you, Raizo. So Kiku's gone to give him a hug, and so is Raizo. He goes, I'm so glad to see you alive, my friend. Kiku, when did you get here? And you see her, and he's just hurling up all the fish he's been eating. And you see, glah, gah, as a splorsh. Like, sorry, 13 years of nausea coming back. So you hear, plep the playgrounds. Everyone be ready for battle. That's Babanuki saying, yes, sir. It's like, who are those three? How did they get in here? So you see his elephant just not giving a shit, just munching on some bananas by itself. And Luffy goes, a Kappa? And so they come and stand in front of Luffy. I love Chopper just coming in with his muscle man pose, being like, yeah, get away from him. You know, Kiku's like, get away from Luffy Taro. He's like, who is that giant woman? And then Hyogoro goes up and he goes, Kiku, Raizo. He's like, what? Is that Boss Hyogoro? He's like, Gramps. He's like, show them all who you are. If you want to inspire and lead these whose spirits were broken, or who fought once before and were laid low, then you must remove your disguise to show them who you are. And Raizo's like, yes, of course. So I like this interesting contrast here of Raizo's version of taking off a disguise is to take off like the little bandit mask he was wearing, and Kiku's way of like taking off her disguise is to put on I believe this was the Hanya mask, and he goes, the first step to gain their trust. Luffy in typical fashion just side-eyeing Kawamatsu's like, a Kappa? He go, and then Hyogoro goes, we are not mere ghosts and memories. He's pulled out one of his swords, and you hear a ba-bang. And they see that mask. But I thought, God, alright. Yeah, we'll talk about this. That mask. But I thought he died at Oden Castle. Isn't that the mask of the most handsome swordsman of Wano? Kikunojo of the Fallen Snow? Chopper's like, what? You're a man? And Kiku goes, this one is a woman at heart. And then I think this is Luffy going, that mask is scary. And that's Fukurojo's rival, Ninja, Raizo of the Mist. The samurai and most powerful of sumo wrestlers, Yokozuna Kawamatsu. And the old man with them really is who we thought. It's Hyogoro the Flower. So who is Luffy Taro then? And then Babanuki's like, this makes it sound like Orochi's ramblings were true. We've got to report this to Kaido somehow. Oh, my poor reindeer son Chopper's just like ready for them to like say, oh my god, it's Chopper the doctor. And then no one says it, and he's like, what about me? And then Kiku, in just an absolutely badass spread, is like, no, now that you have seen us, we demand your silence. It's just chapter end, and I believe I heard One Piece was on break next week, so yeah, alright. So let's get into just the big stuff of this chapter. Actually, let me cover the other stuff before I get back to Kiku. So, God, this chapter is feeding into a lot of the theories I've kind of had about Wano going forward. So I'll kind of go with them one by one based on what we saw. So one of them was, finally found out what Queen, why Queen was called Queen the Plague. And we found out the Queen likes to, mess with robotics and mess with creating plagues and viruses and things like that. So, everyone's been kind of speculating that, what if Chopper is going to... Because I think the most popular theory regarding it right now is, what if Chopper's able to synthesize a cure? Because his dream is to be the doctor that cures all diseases. And if you have a man whose hobby is creating all kinds of new diseases and maybe mixing and matching them, It'd be interesting to see Chopper kind of having to deal with that during Wano's like try to come up with medications to combat all of Queen's plagues. And maybe during the process of doing that, Chopper, starts to come to an understanding of how to create a panacea, basically, if there is possible to create such a thing. I know some fans are speculating that he'd use the sakura flowers in it somehow, like that would be the kind of secret ingredient, the chemical X, as it were, to his panacea. And as a tie in to his backstory with Hiruluk, sure, that works. I'm not so sure I buy into that. It seems a little bit too far fetched. I know in this I'm talking about OP, but yeah, point still stands on that. But this is where we kind of get into my theory territory, because I've been saying for the longest time that, you know, Vegapunk would show up on Wano. And I've been saying that, he'd have a character arc kind of moment with Frankie and Chopper. And having to deal with Queen, in my opinion, would be a great way to showcase that. Where you have Vegapunk and Chopper working together, where, rather than being like, oh no, Chopper figures out the cure all on his own, it turns out that Vegapunk uses all the technology and research he gained from working with the world government, combines that with Chopper's knowledge of the medicines that he learned from the Torino Kingdom, and they combine that together to create something to combat what Queen is doing. And same thing with the mechanisms, Again, Vegapunk takes his world government knowledge, combines that with Frankie's ideas for his own blueprints that he saw back in Vegapunk's homeland, and they combine it together in case Queen comes out with some kind of weird death machine. Oh, actually, no. Different idea. Oh. Okay, no, I take that back. If Queen builds a plague machine, what if Chopper, Vegapunk, and Frankie have to work together to come up with a way to counteract it? Because that works. Because Daifugo's thing right now is like, if I can spread a disease, if I shoot one person with this gun and they get infected with this virus and it just keeps spreading like a contagion, like an actual plague, and Chopper's like, and even if Chopper does create a medicine, what if he's like, I can't distribute it to everyone in time to save them all? So Frankie, Vegapunk, Chopper have to work together to create a machine or some kind of mechanism for how they can either shit. Sorry, ideas are just going off in my head, one after the other. What if Chopper takes the idea from Hiruluk, of creating the pink snow, and they basically use that in Wano as a way to, if Queen starts a plague, what if that's Chopper's way of counteracting it, is they make a pink snow that falls down, and that snow contains the cure so that it hits all the citizens at once. Interesting idea. I don't know if that's going to actually happen in any way, but I'm glad we're getting maybe some indication that Chopper's going to have, a center moment in this arc, so I'm excited for that. And then we have Kawamatsu being revealed as the sumo wrestler. So again, my idea was, if Jinbei does come back, I'd said, what if Kaido during the Fire Festival puts on a bunch of performances. He does a kabuki play, and I said, what if he does a sumo match as well? And people and fans were pointing out that, God, I cannot remember what the hell his name is. The guy that looks like Jinbei at the start of this arc. You can tell how invested I am in it. That I can't make any sense of that. But the guy that started this arc, the sumo wrestler that was trying to marry Kiku, I said, what if Jinbei either impersonates him, or gets into a sumo match with him? And once I saw Kawamatsu, I was like, okay, that kind of throws my theory out the window. But I have two kind of differing ideas here. One would be if Jinbei comes in and he's not Big Mom's prisoner or allied, or if he managed to escape by himself and he comes in, Then it's like, alright, what if Kawamatsu gets sick and he's supposed to go sumo wrestle, but he can't? So Jinbei has to take over for him. Or the other kind of idea I was going like, alright, what if Jinbei comes back as a prisoner and he's forced to participate in sumo matches, and then he and Kawamatsu have to throw down? But I'm interested in seeing how Kawamatsu's thing plays out, and I hope we get a clarification soon of what he is, if he's fully fishman, if he's a mink, or if he's half and half, or maybe he's just a weird looking mink. But I hope we get confirmation on that. And then we get to the very, very last part of this, where so we find out that Kiku was assigned male at birth, was born biologically male, but identifies as a woman. So, Okiku is a transgender woman. And you see the other samurai, already misgendering her based on that. So, calling her a he at the end and saying, oh, she is calling her man and saying, oh, he is the most handsome swordsman of Wano. And Kiku kind of going, oh, I'm actually a woman at heart. So this was something I have to give credit to Stephen Paul, the official translator for One Piece, for this, because he was the one that kind of piqued my interest in this back when Kiku was first introduced, because he was the one that kind of suggested this whole idea in the first place when he said, Kiku was using very masculine pronouns to refer to herself when she was introduced, and that the Akazaya 9 again was very, like, the word they used to describe the Akazaya 9 had very masculine, I'm going to say overtones because I can't think of the word right now, but it kind of indicated that maybe all the Akazaya 9 might have been men. And once we found out that Kiku was part of that, we're like, okay, maybe not. Maybe Kiku was actually a cisgender woman. And then a few weeks ago I had thought twigged in my head where I was like, alright, because the only characters in Wano we've seen that are taller than average, because Kinemon is about Brook's height, and I think Raizo and Kanjuro and the rest of them are about the same height as Kinemon as well. And Okiku was noted as being a very tall woman, so I'm like, alright, is that Oda's kind of way of kind of not predating, prepping, yeah, go with prepping because I can't think of the proper word, and prepping the reveal that Kiku was born male, but she actually is a transgender woman. And okay, so like I'll deal with the problematic stuff with Oda first before I go into like my theory thoughts on this. So Oda's representation of the trend of the LGBTQIA plus demographic and of transgender people in particular has been either problematic at best, or it has been outright offensive at the worst. And I've talked about this multiple times about how Sanji is very, very extremely transphobic, and a lot of his transphobia is played off for humor and is never addressed as a serious flaw or as serious bigoted behavior. So when you get the reveal, and when you started Wano with Sanji being all jealous and possessive of Okiku because she was being affectionate towards Kinemon and Momonosuke and the rest of them, because they are basically her family, and you have Sanji acting all possessive, being like, yo, I love women, I respect them, and I shower them with affection and all that crap. Why isn't Kiku giving me all her affection? Why isn't she giving me notice? And the fact he's played it up so much, Sanji's jealousy of the fact that, why won't conventionally attractive women, why won't they, so let me just turn the light on here, didn't notice it got dark, why won't they basically pay attention to me? And so when I get to this reveal, I'm like, alright, this feels like it's going to be set up for a super transphobic joke where Sanji finds out that, yes, Okiku was assigned male at birth, but she identifies as a woman. And he's going to have his disgusting panic attacks where he goes, oh my god, I can't believe I was actually attracted to a man that was pretending to be, masquerading as a woman, because, that goes into the very, very transphobic ideas of, of like the whole, everything that happens to transgender people, the idea that they are just men playing at dress up is a super transphobic idea in society. And when you look at the statistics for gender, for violence and sexual assault, transgender men and women tend to have the highest rates. And you hear so many news stories about men that, violently reacted when they found out they were sleeping with a transgender woman. And, and their toxic masculinity wouldn't let them accept the fact that, there's nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with sleeping with a transgender woman. They are women, period, full stop. Doesn't matter what you think or say or what anyone else says about you. But the idea that you have to reject any kind of suggestions of homophobia violently, is a super problematic idea that pervades a lot of real life right now. And the fact that Sanji plays so much into this, like, I'm super worried about the fact that's what the direction Oda's going to go, is have Sanji react exactly like that if or when he finds out that, Okiku is transgender. He's going to have that kind of reaction. And so, I'm kind of already priming myself to be like, all right, Oda, why the fuck are you why are you doing this? Why would you introduce, or like, no, not why would you introduce, but I hope you're not introducing, a character like this to be the punchline of a shitty joke. And that's kind of like me trying to be basically like, realistic and address what I feel like is actually going to happen. But I've also been kind of hoping, because I've retweeted some stuff today, and since October 2018 when we first started speculating this, I've been kind of pushing for the idea or hoping that Okiku is revealed to be transgender. Because if it's done right, if Oda approaches the character with a lot of sympathy, with a lot of humanity, it could make for really great representation. And this was something I was thinking about today when I was scrolling my Twitter. And I saw one of my mutuals, who identifies as being transgender, comment that they said, if Oda handles Okiku badly, if he makes her the butt of the joke or just a punchline, and he just disrespects her, and, people do what they're doing in this chapter where they're constantly misgendering her and calling her, a man and all that. They said that, I would stop reading One Piece even though it means so much to me, even though it has been so influential, to the person I am today, because I just cannot read a series where the author thinks so little of us, that the representation is so shitty and we don't deserve to be treated like that. And I fully agree with that. If any this was one of the things I'm writing about right now, I've been talking about a lot before, is one of the great things I loved about early One Piece was you had so many great diverse characters, men and women, that were equally compelling. And I feel like that was one of the biggest reasons the series was so appealing to so many people, was there someone in the series you could identify with, kind of project yourself onto and be like, yes, Vivi is just like me, or Miss Monday is just like me, or, I love Mr. 3, or I love Mr. 7, I love Das Bones, whatever the character is. And after the time skip, that representation has gotten steadily and steadily worse. And Oda's approach to, the LGBTQIA plus demographic and the transgender and transgender people in general has been super, super problematic from the get-go. And I know the biggest defense of this is, you know, either Oda's from a different time or Oda's got good intentions, and look at Ivankov and Bond, who are characters who are not fully defined by their queer identity. And it's true, I love Bond and Ivankov as characters. They're well-rounded, compelling characters that do have personalities and traits that aren't slowly defined by their gender identity, which is great. But they're also still very much caricatures of what I think a lot of people, characters and representative, I think, of what a lot of people think of when they think of the LGBTQ demographic. And I don't want to presume to speak for said demographic. You know, I kind of wish there were more fans currently of that demographic currently involved in the OP fandom that I could find. If anybody knows of any that are currently talking about these issues, please let me know who they are. I'd love to follow them and kind of get their thoughts on it, or just sit down and like have a conversation with them to kind of talk about what their thoughts on this are. But this is something I feel like is important, so I kind of want to address it, and I hope I'm doing the best way I can, like I'm presenting it properly. But to me, the way the issue reads is that Oda seems to be conflating all of the LGBT demographics under one kind of umbrella, and he's like, all right, we're taking all the identities, like all the diverse identities under this umbrella. I'm going to compress them into one single identity that is representative of and speaks for all of them. And I know like Ivankov and them are based, Ivankov especially was based on an actual drag queen, that Oda met. But to have, an entire kingdom of LGBTQ people, and push the positive pro message of, we are a kingdom of gender fluid people. We don't restrict ourselves to the heteronormative ideas of what's masculine, what's feminine. We don't really care. We only care about expressing yourself and, expressing yourself and being true to who you are is a great message. But then when you have two standout characters from that demographic, and then you have every other single resident of PG Kingdom just be a harmful, problematic stereotype, and have the cover story with Sanji pushing the idea that, anyone, like all LGBT people, like, anyone that's gay, transgender, are just predators that are preying on unsuspecting, cis men and trying to have their way with them, or that they're trying to, or that they're trying to, like, make them gay as well. Like, it pushes so many harmful ideas. And so when you have, like, when you get to this kind of reveal, I'm always of two minds where I'm like, I want Oda to give us better representation for these demographics, but I don't want him to touch it if it's going to mean that it's just going to further alienate those demographics, because he's going to play into harmful stereotypes that continue to, further marginalize them even more than they already are. And I know, like, this is like one of the arguments. I'm going to make another video about this at some point in the future. I kind of want to quickly address this before we move on a little bit from this. But I know one of the arguments for this, for Oda, is that, Oda has good intentions. He really does respect that one person he met, and he doesn't intend to be offensive or harmful when he's doing these things. But I'm honestly really sick and tired of hearing about people's good intentions, because it doesn't matter what Oda thinks he's doing when what he's actually doing is harmful to the very demographic he claims to support and, represent. And when you have stuff like Sanji's transphobia played off as humor, and you don't have a single character call him out on the fact that, hey Sanji, this is shitty behavior, what the fuck is wrong with you? grow the fuck up, stop being such a douchebag. You're kind of just basically normalizing the idea that these kinds of behaviors are okay because they're not really harmful, they're not really problematic, they're only humorous. Ha ha ha, let's all laugh together. And you just, no, you can't do that. But like I said, like, this is something I have to talk about in a more in-depth video where I kind of talk about this issue exclusively with other ideas of like representation in media, so I don't want to get too in-depth with that. But we need to really retire the argument that Oda has good intentions. And I'll bring up the fact that in one of the SBSs, when one of the male readers asks him, "Hey Oda, how do you draw your female characters?" And he says, "Oh, it's basically, two circles for the boobies and an X to draw the little hourglass body shape." And he ends it by saying, "Oh, you'll get a lot of complaints from your female readers about this, but ignore them and try to stay strong." The fact that he so blatantly disregards the feelings of 50% or more of his readership, just because he's like, "Oh, I like drawing sexy women with big boobies," kind of doesn't give me any faith that he actually does have good intentions for the things he's doing. Like I said, it's a conversation for kind of another video. I'll kind of get into my last little bit about Kiku here. So this is the last kind of theory thing I want to talk about with regards to Kiku. And this is like very headcanon, my theory stuff. But when I got this reveal, like, my mind was just going like a mile a minute. But I have been the strongest proponent of the idea that Crocodile would show up in Wano. And I've pushed the idea that Crocodile, because I think the fandom's kind of split between they want Crocodile's secret with Ivankov to be something silly and ridiculous, and the others are kind of just like, yeah, he's a woman, big deal, whatever. And again, I'm working on kind of like thoughts to kind of talk about this. But in the camp of Crocodile was assigned female at birth, and like Kiku, he's just like, "No, I am actually a man," and he went to Ivankov and he's able to finally be who he really is. This, like, I've been of the mind, like, okay, all right, we know how closed off and isolated and potentially conservative Wano is. It's like, so what if Kiku... So my idea was always, all right, what if Crocodile comes to Kiku and tells her, I can tell you the name of a person who will be able to fulfill your dream and let you and help you basically with your gender dysphoria if Kiku has it, to basically be like, I know of someone who can help you with that, so that you can finally, if you would like to physically transition from into being a physically transition, then I can help you do that. And I feel like, that would be an interesting, like, that would be a really something unique to kind of do for a shonen series in general, where you talk about the actual struggles that someone that is transgender faces when, when they're stuck in a body that they don't feel like is their own, when they're suffering from the gender dysphoria. Again, I have no experience, breadth of experience in this field to kind of talk about it. Everything I know kind of gleaned from following actual, transgender people on Twitter, just like learning about them through research. So I don't want to speak too much to it, but I don't know, like, this kind of solidified the idea maybe that is still a possibility now for that to happen. But honestly, I think, my high hopes and expectations and everything aside, I feel like all I really want Oda to do at this point with Kiku is to just treat her like a person, not a punchline, not a joke, not a gag. If he just treats her like a person, and if her gender is never brought up again for the rest of Wano, I'd be perfectly okay with that. If he does the same for Crocodile, it does turn out, yes, Croc's secret was Croc's secret was something ridiculous, but oh yeah, they also were a woman, or were a woman, and then they transitioned into being a man. I'd be fine with that. I just don't want Oda to do something offensive to hurt his transgender fans because they really do deserve better. And I don't want him to go down that route for the sake of a punchline. I have no idea if that's what he's actually going to do. I'm been super ever since I saw this spoiler on Friday. I've just been super nervous, thinking about all the potential ways it could go wrong, and the fandom really hasn't helped my confidence because I've seen so many fans already refer to misgendering Okiku multiple times. I've already seen them laughing and joking about how Sanji's going to react. I've seen them already using the slur of trap, which for anyone that doesn't know, it's a slur basically meant to indicate that what I said before about transgender women are just men that are cross-dressing as women to try and trick other men into sleeping with them or whatever. That's where the term the trap originated from. And just the fact that the OP fan was already reacting to this humorously doesn't give me much confidence in it, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. Please, Oda, prove me wrong, but I don't know. This is honestly, I have no idea how to feel right now, and it's kind of making me queasy, but I thought I'd get my thoughts out there regarding that. I had one more quick thought about something, and I forgot what it was now. Never mind, okay. I'll end this on a quick note, just pointing out something I was thinking about with Okiku. The panel where Hyogoro goes, you must remove your disguise to show them who you are, and you have Raizo taking his off and Okiku putting one on. That to me is very evocative, and I wonder if that's supposed to be symbolic of Okiku hiding who she really is to put on, the mask persona of who she pretends to be in public. And I don't know if that means Oda's actually going to take a sympathetic look at this or what, but that thought just struck me when I was doing that. Oh, and the other thing I was thinking of, I wanted to mention, the only other thing that kind of gives me semi-hope that Oda's not going to go super offensive with this is Okiku is not a caricature like the other residents of Peachy Kingdom. She's not overtly, she's not like a morally type where it's like overtly problematic behavior, problematic or stereotypical behavior. So I'm hoping that means he's going to be more tactful with this. Again, I don't know if that's what's going to actually happen, but we'll have to wait and see what that is. But yeah, I think I've gone off on this for long enough. I hope you enjoyed reaction, review, and thoughts. If any of you have anything you want to comment about, anything I've presented here, anything I had to say, please drop a comment below. I'll respond to it. Always ready to have kind of conversation about this. But yeah, other than that, I'm going to try to record a reaction to Promised Neverland and Haikyuu today as well and catch up on those series. And yeah, and then next week, hopefully, once things have settled down here, we'll be able to kind of move stuff. I'll be in a better office where there's not so much clutter and stuff in the background. But yeah, until then, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.